Welcome to Learners Academy. I'm Mona Bhatia and we shall discuss and explain the last poem of FYJC of Maharashtra Board. First, I thought I'll not do this poem this year because this poem has been omitted for this year's syllabus, but this is such a beautiful piece of poetry and it's so different from all the other rest of the poems, so I'm doing it because I loved this poem after reading it. So in this video you'll get the full explanation of the poem along with figures of speech used in the poem. So let's get started without further ado. They plan, they build. All spaces are gridded, filled with permutations of possibility. So the poet starts with the word planning. Who he's referring to when he says they? They means the planners. The planners, they plan to construct after planning. They divide the spaces into grids and they build, they construct building wherever possible, wherever they find space. And in these squares and grids, the human element is lost. Alright, they build and they will not stop because they are in a mad rush, mad game, as it's the need of the hour. Modernization, actually, you know what has happened? Modernization and construction is there because of the increase in population to accommodate more and more people in less spaces. Alright, and here you will see the poem will start in a very sarcastic tone. Alright, the buildings are in alignment with the road which meet at desired point. So what does this mean? The planners make building which align by the roads and they meet at the desired points. That means planners make their plan, they plan the city as if it is like a checkered board with rows and columns. Alright, so mathematically perfect, you know, all the roads meeting at 90-degree angle. Alright, so what do you mean by understand by this line? Which meet at desired point, linked by bridges, all hang in the grace of mathematics. So in the grace of mathematics means engineers have put in a lot of hard work, you know, engineers and their perfect mathematic calculations, they have created a new, you know, city. They have made many bridges and all the roads meeting at 90-degree. So in that the human touch is lost. Alright, they build and will not stop. That means they are in a mad rush. They just want to build and build. That is the only motto of their life. Even the sea draws back and the skies surrender. So even they are so aggressive, so very aggressive that they construct their dream project even in the on the sea. Haven't you seen Palm Jumeirah beach in Dubai, where they have extended the constructions on the sea, and even in Japan, architects, they have built airport on the sea in Japan. Have you seen that? So the poet is very right when he says that even the sea draws back and the sky surrenders. Nowadays there is a mad, endless pursuit to make high-rise buildings, and the skies have also surrendered and the nature is being pushed out of the way. So what do we have to do? The tone of the poem is very, very sarcastic. As you can see right from the beginning, he is not glorifying the planners, but he's actually against the fact that the planners exploit every available piece of land without thinking about nature and without thinking about the ill effects of this non-stop planning and exploitation. Alright, so they shape the city, the planners, they shape the city to satisfy the selfish needs of human beings. Alright, so this was the line by line explanation, and in fact I have also given the in-depth meaning also in these lines. Now let's go to the next slide. They erase the flaws, the blemishes of the past, knock off useless blocks with dental dexterity. So they means the planners, they even erase the flaws. That means if there is something that looks unpleasant to them, they tend to cover it with yet more artificial structures so that there is nothing that looks natural. There is nothing that is dilapidated in the city. Those dilapidated and ruined buildings are like eyesore to them, and they want to just get rid of them. They even erase the past, by knocking off old structures in order to fill all the gaps with new glittering metals. That means new things, new structures. So all gaps are plugged with gleaming gold. The country wears perfect rows of shining teeth. And you know what they do? And they make new structures in place of old one, and they make the perfect rows of new buildings, just like a dentist would do, would make new shining row of teeth and would remove the old and rotten ones. Planners, they have the skill of a dentist. All right, they fill all the gaps just like a dentist would do. Now the city wears a golden smile with all the teeth, means all the buildings shining properly with no flaws at all right. The planners work like a dentist would work on creating a perfect smile, filling all the gaps. So the perfect smile may look beautiful, but that's not the true smile, isn't it? That's an artificial smile, right? Anesthesia, amnesia, hypnosis, they have the mean. They have it all, so it will not hurt. So history is new again. The piling will not stop. The drilling goes right through the fossil of the last century. So I'm going to take first two lines first because they're very, very important line. Anesthesia, amnesia, and hypnosis. They have the mean. Who have the mean? The planners. They have the mean. The planners, they use anesthesia on the city dwellers in order to achieve their target by having temporary loss of sensation or awareness. Now they use it in the name of planning, in the name of development, in the name of modernization. All right. So what is amnesia? Amnesia is a loss of memory, due to drug. What is drug? Drug is modernization. In the name of modernization, people don't even realize that they are drugged, and they are hypnotized also. People apparently lose the power of voluntary action, and they respond according to the dictates or instructions of the planner. They think that they are doing very good job by modernization, by making new structures. They are actually in a state of hypnosis. They are in a state of amnesia, that means loss of memory, and they are also anesthetized because they now it doesn't hurt them. Anesthesia is a drug which is given when you are being operated upon, and you don't feel the pain when you are being anesthetized. All right, so now the city dwellers are being anesthetized. All right, people are in a state of unawareness that it will be harmful to the nature. They don't realize that. So these things acts like anesthesia and amnesia. Okay, and amnesia is their inability to remember past. So these planners tend to erase all the old structures that we get disconnected with the past, and we don't question them at all. All right, and last but not the least, that they hypnotize the people. How? By telling them that this is for their upliftment, for continuously telling that it will be for their benefit, it is going to make the city look beautiful. And so the people and are in a trance-like state, and they don't question. So they use all the means to achieve what they plan, and it doesn't hurt anybody because they are now using anesthesia. They are people are in state of amnesia, and they are being hypnotized also. So the planners have all the means, so they erase history. Now history is new again. The piling will not stop. The drilling goes right through the fossil of the last century. So when they have to construct new buildings, they have to lay the foundation. They drill the earth, and they lay the foundation. So I mean, they are erasing even the fossil of the last century. They not only erase history on ground level, but also drill deep inside the earth through the fossil of the past century. That means they destroy history of the previous centuries also. How ruthless they are. But my heart would not bleed poetry, not a single drop to stain the blueprint of our past's tomorrow. So in the last stanza, poet feels very sad, as this world has become so mechanized and the human element is lost, and therefore the impact of human emotion is lost and is not criticized. These development, the human will not cry to stop all these. He uses irony and metaphorical connotation in these lines. He says that that considering the current scenario, current state of affair, he does not want to cry or moan or write poetry or poems for the loss of heritage, because by doing that he would stay in the present. The poem makes us think. Now this poem is really beautiful and it makes us think. In the present day, everything is so short lived. We try to have quick fixes for all the things, for all anything that is there, quick fix attitude, and we don't even care for our history. The poem shows longing for of the poet for natural spaces, and which are not corrupted by man. And the poem is also about how the past is continuously being wiped out or erased. The poet suggests that it's like we have been brainwashed to let all these things happen without objecting, as if we are drugged. Let's do the figures of speech of this poem, The Planner. And the poem starts with the word they, and the word they is repeated in the poem throughout. You see, there's a lot of emphasis on the word they, and the word they refers to the planners. Alright, so the whole poem revolves around the planners, and there is so much of emphasis given because the planners, they are actually the destroyers. If you read the poem properly, you'll understand that they're destroying the plan of nature. They're trying to create something very beautiful, but in that process they are messing up with the nature, they are messing up with the history, they're messing up with the emotions. Alright, so the very first line has the repetition. The word they is repeated twice in this line, so there is a repetition here. And the word all and are, both of these words, they start with the letter A, so there is a repetition of the sound A. Alright, so there is an alliteration here. In the second line, you can see there is a repetition of the letter P. The sound P is repeated, so there is an alliteration again. Now you see the third, fourth, fifth and sixth lines I have colored in blue because there is an imagery. The buildings are in alignment with the roads which meet at the desired points, linked by bridges all hang. So in imagery, lines creates descriptive images in the mind of the reader, and in imagery, visual, tactile, sound and various descriptions are used so that it compels the reader to create an image in the mind while reading these lines. So there is an imagery in these lines. Alright, now we go to this line, even the sea draws back and the skies surrender. So first of all, you see there is a repetition of the letter S. So there is an alliteration which I have not written here, but there is an hyperbole. What is an hyperbole? When a statement or an idea is exaggerated or overstated for effect, the figure of speech is hyperbole. So there is a like sea draws back. There is an exaggeration. The sky is surrendering. So this is an exaggeration. Plus there is personification also. Because the sea and the sky, they have been personified in these two lines. What is personification? Personification is a figure of speech when inanimate objects are given the human quality of, here the sea is given the human quality of drawing back, going back, and the sky is given the human quality of surrendering. All right. Now, the other line that is highlighted in bold is they erase the flaws, the blemishes of the past, knock off useless blocks. In this, there is an irony. Now, what is an irony? Irony is a very important figure of speech. Irony is the expression by using the language that normally signifies the opposite. Actually, typically the humorous or the emphatic effect. All right. They don't mean what they are actually saying, because see, they erase the flaws. They are actually not the flaws, but the poet is trying to make mock of the planners, that they are erasing the flaws. Flaws are actually an asset. They are important part of history. Blemishes of the past, they are actually not the blemishes. They are actually important structures, monuments which are which has to be carried forward for our future generation. Next, knock off the useless blocks. Of course, they are not useless because there's so much of history associated with that. So there is an irony where, the opposite, there is a humor in that. There is a little bit of, sadness. With sadness, the poet is trying to say the opposite thing. So that is called irony. All right. In the next line, you see there is a repetition of the sound D, dental dexterity. So there is an alliteration there. Now we come to the last line of this slides. All gaps are plugged with gleaming gold. So when you read these lines, your mind is filled with images. So there is an imagery here, and the sound of G is repeated, gleaming gold. The sound of G is repeated here twice. So there is an alliteration here. Continuing with the figures of speech, the first line, the country wears perfect rows of shining teeth. I have highlighted this line in red color because there is a metaphor here and there is an irony. I'll explain you how. See, the buildings are indirectly compared to the set of shining teeth. Here the country wears the new shining buildings arranged in perfect rows like teeth in the mouth, which are fixed by a dentist. So there is a indirect comparison. All right, there is an irony also here, as the poet is actually not happy with the perfect rows of shining teeth, but is trying to cover up his anguish, his sadness. He's using humor here. For him, he sees actually no beauty in perfect rows of building. All right, now the anesthesia, amnesia and hypnosis, these are extended metaphor here, because the absent-mindedness of city dweller is compared to the anesthetized state, a state of amnesia where there is loss of awareness in city people and they are hypnotized, and they have no power to act voluntarily, and they respond according to the instructions of the city planners, the politicians, etc. Why I said politician? Because the politicians are the people who instruct planners to, build more city and, modernize the city. All right, they also come under the planners category. Now, there is a climax also in this line, because the anesthesia, amnesia and hypnosis, all the three words are arranged in increasing order of intensity for creating an impact here. All right. So next line, so the history is new again. So there is an oxymoron here, as the history is erased to create a new history. So also there is a paradox here. What is an oxymoron? Basically, oxymoron, the word contradicts each other. So how can you, create a new history by erasing the old history? All right. So there is an oxymoron here. Also there is a paradox, as history is erased with the help of modernization to make it new. So there is a sarcasm here. All right. And also there is a irony here. The poet is mocking at the planners actually indirectly by using opposite language. He's not happy here. All right. So he's trying to use irony throughout the poem. All right. Now in the last lines, not a single drop to stain the blueprint of our past's tomorrow. So irony again here, because the poet is showing disgust by using opposite language, and paradox because the opposite ideas past and tomorrow are used in the same line. What is paradox? When ideas that are incompatible and they do not seem capable of mixing together are put together in a same line. The figure of speech is paradox. And also there is oxymoron also, as it contains the word that contradicts each other. It is referred to as oxymoron is referred to as contradictions of terms. So past is tomorrow. I mean, it doesn't match. So these were all the figures of speech of this poem, The Planner. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. To make sure you don't miss any of my future videos, subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell also. You can also watch various grammar activities that I've uploaded recently on my channel, and also do share with your friends. And stay safe, keep learning till I see you again. Bye bye.